Welcome to the Loyal and True podcast. This is a podcast where we connect with Potlatch Logger grads. I'm Shelby Kerns, class of 1993, and I am coming to you from Washington, D.C.
Hey, everybody. I'm Cam Crain, class of 1988, talking to you from the greater Nashville area. And we are thrilled to have our dear friend on with us today, Temple Anderson Kinyon, class of 1988. Hey, Temple. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Great to have you here. Hey, where are you right now? Where are you talking to us from?
Literally, I'm in my office, in my house in Lewiston, Idaho.
Lewiston. Right on.
Fantastic.
All right. All right. So there's a whole notion about, quote, being back. What is it like to be back, if there is a back to be back to?
Yeah, it's so I moved away in 2003 to Las Vegas and lived there for 21 years and came back last year. It is funny because everybody says, "Oh, you're back. We didn't know you were back." Back. And I'm like, so I guess if you live in the greater Quad Cities area and the small town, you know what I mean? If you're close enough to be able to go see your parents for Sunday dinner and then come home and fall asleep on the couch or something, that's back. Like you're close, right? So it's really cool to be back. Some things stay the same, which is very comforting because I like tradition. I like, what to expect. But a lot of things are very different about North Idaho and the Potlatch area, which is nice too, And I like being back close with my family and friends. Best friend from high school, well, my lifetime best friend, Carla Thompson.
Carla.
Yeah, Carla.
Like
Shout out,
literally
Carla. We know she's listening.
minutes. Yeah. Oh, she will now because I'll tell
Yeah,
her.
she's got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She lives like 2 minutes from me.
Come
Literally.
on.
Oh, that's what? I didn't know she was in Lewiston.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a few other people down here too. So it's kind of fun. And you know who your real friends and those solid people are because they're happy to see you. There's not very many people that are like, "Oh, you're back," but it's good to be at this point in my life back closer with family, especially just that parents.
Yeah. And 21 years away is no joke. So take us back to Vegas. I mean, maybe tell us a little more about that path that led you down to Vegas and what you were doing down there.
Well, Vegas was not. I always kind of wanted to leave the area, as a kid, and not that I don't have anything against the area. I just wanted to branch out, right? And I got there. I went to college at the U of I as a Vandal. Go Vandals!
Go Vandals.
Go Vandals!
Vandals.
And got married, and he was more of a. I kind of want to stick around, like. Our family and our friends are here and we, it's a great place. North Idaho is a great place, right? Where we grew up. It's lovely. And so, you put the work in and you live your life. And I kind of was just like, dude, can we go somewhere? Like, can we? And I thought he would, because we lived in Genesee at the time, I thought he'd be like, all right, how do you feel about living in Lewiston? I mean, I thought that kind of a move, right? One day and he's like, what do you think about Vegas? And I'm like, what? Vegas? Are you kidding? And he worked for Clearwater Paper and they, AKA formerly Potlatch. And, he was like, yeah, they're putting in a new machine. There's already an existing plant down there, but they're putting in a new paper machine. And so he was part of this, we said yes, and he was allowed to go. And, there was probably about a half a dozen guys from Lewiston that were down there, but then everybody else was from all over, like Arkansas, Maine, all sorts of places. Yeah. And he helped commission that machine. And so that's how I ended up in Vegas. And I worked for UNLV for a while doing events. And then I was sort of burnt out and I was like, hey, maybe I want to pursue my writing. So I worked at Starbucks for a while and then just sort of was doing my writing on the side. And eventually it evolved into being able to do a freelance career. And so that's what I did for the last about 10 years in Vegas is freelance writing. And it really started out as, well, we'll live in Vegas we'll give it 5 years and then we'll move back, to the area, whatever. But life has other plans for you. And they're like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, we're going to go ahead and just completely destroy the economy and make it so that you can't move. So yeah, we survived that because our house was underwater and, everybody can only do the 2008, 2009 mess. So
Yeah.
yeah. So my husband decided that he needed to retire and do something else. And so that's how we ended up back at Sheep.
I'm a huge fan of your writing career, but I want to go back real quick because I think you just go Vandals, and then you had to go work for UNLV. So I just need to double click on that. Was that weird to be the lone Vandal down there in Rebel Line?
Yeah, I remember getting interviewed and they were like something, they asked, well, why should we hire you? And I'm like, because why can't a Vandal be a rebel? And I'm pretty sure that's what got.
That was a great line. I love
Nice
that.
tagline. Hey, do you work in marketing? Just
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So
nice.
yeah, it's weird because I didn't know their traditions and they're a very young uh, university compared to the U of I or WSU. The university. We were around 100 and some years, and they were like, "We're celebrating our 50th." So it was a really interesting time to be working there because it was their anniversary, but it was, they're young, and so they didn't have a lot of the same processes and systems in place, but they were a great university. So, I mean, it was just very different. But yeah, Idaho played down there. But I wasn't working for UNLV at the time, but it was kind of interesting because I had some friends that are like, "Oh, Rebels are going to beat the Vandals," and but actually we beat you, but yes. So good times. Yep. Higher education's a good place to be, but yeah, I work in the private sector now. So
Well, it's really exciting that you were able to pursue your writing and that part of your career too. I mean, that's such a different path than most people take.
yeah, I didn't ever expect to be able to make a living writing, but why not try, And I was in a really safe, kind of lifestyle. My husband was very, worked really hard and he made pretty good money in Vegas. And I was sort of a penny pincher and was like, we're going to make this work. And so we were able to have me not have that, you know, definite salary every month that you could, plan on. So that's kind of an exciting thing to live through is that kind of freelance thing. But I had such great opportunities in Las Vegas. There's a huge writing contingent down there, as there might be in every town. I don't know, but I mean, there was writing groups and critique groups, and I mean, I had signings. I could do signings, anytime. Um, and I always wanted to be a writer. Like in high school, I remember those were, and middle, or I guess they don't call it. We called it junior high. Um, I remember those being my favorite classes. This is the English classes where I could write, and those were very influential to me, and I finally got to go back and see if I could pursue it, so I did. And thanks to Cameron, ironically, that we're on this show together, he was the one that finally kicked me in the butt and got me, to just decide to go for self-publishing my first book, because nobody wanted it, and he's like, "Well, why can't you just do it yourself?" And I don't know. That day we talked and I think I called you or you called me. I can't remember. I think you called me and you were like, "What's up? I'm checking in on you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm a mess.
Sounds
No,
right.
lost my manuscript." I know. That's such a Cam thing, right? What's going on? How can I light the fire under your ass today? And he did, totally did. It was the right words at the right time. And I was like, he's right. So, I self-published and then that's kind of where everything took off.
So proud that you
Also a
did
little
that
bit about the
too.
book too. Sorry,
Yeah.
Cam.
No, yeah, please tell us more.
Yeah.
That first book was just, a book that was in my head and I just wanted to get it out. It's a fiction, kind of middle grade. I mean, anybody could read it. Most of my fans are, my parents and my friends and family, but I'm very happy because, they got the word out too. So, and it's just it's about buttons that take this boy on sort of a journey to learn about his family history. And he uses them to save his grandma when she's ill, So it's a great story. And I didn't come up with it. It was sort of a conversation I had with my mother-in-law, and that was sort of the spark to the story. And so, it takes the village sometimes to make a good story, and so that's how it started. And I had lots of opportunities. I joined a couple of groups and I did signings, and the best signings are when you get invited to go, like, to a middle school or a grade school,
Mm.
talk to them about how you can write and how you can publish your own book and those were the best. That was what I did it for. I is to be able to inspire. And I don't know if I ever did, but they were great for me. They were the best events. Were the signings that involved kids and the talks. So and then that just parlayed into I have a writing gig with Home and Harvest magazine, which is published out of Moscow, Idaho. And I that's a bi-monthly and I just yeah, I mean it's a great opportunity. It's like where I just sort of release these stories and I think I'll have a book out of those stories
I
eventually.
bet you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an ongoing series about a kid, farm kid from the 70s. Geez, does that sound familiar?
Shout out farm kids
Yeah. From the 70s.
from the
Right.
70s.
The best farm kids are from the 70s.
There we go.
Think of all the trouble we got into. I mean, and it wasn't really trouble. So, yeah, so his name's Otis, so I'm hopefully
Otis. Love the
Otis
name.
love that.
Otis.
yeah. And then I had an opportunity, to write with, um to co-author with the University of Idaho president, Scott Green. And that was a complete shift because I was writing sort of for younger audiences and fiction and fun. And it's like, "Would you like to co-author a book with me about budgets and spending?" And I'm like, "Sure, whatever."
Shelby's world right there.
Yeah, I think that's very fun. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very fun. It is. Like, once I got into it, I was like, "This is fascinating," because I am a words person, not a numbers person, right? And I had to talk to a lot of people a lot of times to get it to click in my head, but thankfully everybody was very supportive on that piece. So, yeah, and I'd known him. I worked at the U of I at the alumni office before we moved to Vegas and did events. And he was living in New York at the time. So that's how I met him was like 20 years before he became, well, okay, maybe not that many years. I'm not that old, but maybe like 10, 15 years before he became president. So we've known each other. And why he picked me, I think he just knew my writing style and trusted me and
Knew
you
you.
know, yeah.
Knew he could trust you probably.
Mhm. I'm sure trust had a lot to do with that, Temple. And look, you'd put yourself out there. You put button boxes out there, and I'm sure that was a validator as well. Yeah, no, you did it. I just need to give you a little encouragement. That's all.
That's what it takes, I think, sometimes is somebody just to say, it's a great story, Temple, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. So
When you
that's
so when you think about that and like both what you've done, but also how you had the guts to do that, was there anything from your years in Potlatch or at Potlatch High School that really influenced that success?
I think yeah, I mean, when you look of course, I went to school in Potlatch all 12 years. They didn't have kindergarten when I was there. Otherwise, I would have gone to kindergarten. But But just kind of zeroing in on our high school years, that was a great time for us to be kids, but also young adults. You're in that cool in between time. It's really hard, I think, but it's a cool but in between time where you can test the waters and you can see, gee, do I like this class? Do I like math? Do I like science? Do I like English? And you test the waters, and yeah, we're all graded and everything, and that plays into a lot of it. But I think you finally kind of decide, geez, I really am not fond of math because I'm not very good at it. So I'm not going to do that probably for a living. But I really like writing, and maybe there's something to do with writing. And I had great teachers. I mean, I liked school. I was not good at certain things, but I had great teachers, right? And so, to name a few, Jacqueline Height, she was our early on, and then Mike Barrett, and they were teachers. They had to grade you and critique you, and sometimes it was rough. You'd get that paper back and there was like red pen. It looked like a murder scene all over your paper, right? But it was a fairly safe environment to learn whether you really wanted to do that. And I did. I loved writing. It was but I didn't ever think I could make a living off of it. And so I was more of a communications major in school, in college, and became an event planner and, did little writing things on the side, but nothing major. So, I don't know if because I was a pretty timid person back then. I didn't have a lot of, yeah, I'm going to do this. I didn't eat. I was like, I'm just going to lay low, fly under the radar, and not be on anyone's radar, you know?
But in high school, you had a lot of agency. I would say agency. Like you would stand up for yourself, and you were a great student. I think you're selling yourself a little short. I remember,
Yeah.
obviously, there was that top tier in our class of those of you who were up there, and I was like, wow, look at them go, because you took it seriously, and actually a whole group of us did in different areas.
Yeah.
Looking back at that, and the combination of Height and Barrett was a very different and cool combo if you look at it that way. Her style compared to his style,
Yeah.
you know?
Very different, very different. But that's kind of, yeah, I feel like she was more on the creative, let it kind of fly. Let's see how this works. Yeah, we got to worry about grammar and the mechanics of it. And yeah, I'll check you on that. But let's let your imagination go. Or
Yeah, but don't worry so much about if it makes sense. I remember her telling me that once, and I think it was the first short story that I'd written in a long time at that point. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll just like make stuff up, fine. And then and I did, and then she was like, that was really good. I was like, what? You
like
mean
they almost tell you not to think about it.
yeah, like
Just
you just invent
yeah.
stuff, and that's okay. Okay, wow.
Yeah. It
That's
is
weird
hard.
though. I've always thought it's hard. We come from this little town and, growing up on a farm, you don't see people making a living by writing or doing other things. It's hard to know until you get out and you can kind of see what those paths maybe are, different ways that, that you can use those skills and do things you enjoy. But it's hard when you, mostly, see, other farmers or what have you.
Yeah, and I think growing up in a small town, I loved it. I have very fond memories and with my family farming, but also at PHS and in grade school, whatever. College is a great town. It's a very community oriented town. And I have very few like where I was like, yeah, I remember this time. It was kind of tough. But those tend to be memories that I think everybody has as adolescents, like bullying and just not feeling self-confident about I mean, I think that's pretty typical for that age, no matter where you live. But I had a friend one time, and we were talking about growing up in a small town. She grew up in a small town in the Midwest, and probably even smaller than Potlatch. And she's like, the one thing I love and always took away from being in a small town was that you could be a big deal in a small town because everybody knew you. And, some of us are like, well, that was good most of the time, unless I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, which was never me, of course. But it would get help your parents before you did, right? You sure just don't know either because you were always doing stuff you were supposed to be doing. But but you have that opportunity, at least PHS, you could be in sports, you could be in drama, you could be in music, you could be a cheerleader, you could be a stat keeper, you could be all these great things, and you were somebody. You were somebody that the community recognized. And I like that thought about, you could sort of like test the waters and get to be in the spotlight if you wanted to be, in a small town. And so I guess, I don't know, there were a lot of years in there I just was like, "I'm not gonna be able to do this." Like, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. It's that, imposter syndrome thing.
Mm.
I think we all have sometimes at one time or another. Um, but the more I was into it and people like Cameron who was like, "Temple, just do it. What have you got to lose?" Then I think that kind of made me realize, yeah, I've wanted to do this my whole life, so why not? And that, I think that starts back in those years, you know?
It's interesting. One of the things that I uh, also took away from being from a small town is you can do all of the things, right? I talked to people from, so many friends who went to bigger schools and you really had to concentrate on one thing. Like you could be in the band or you could, play volleyball, but you couldn't do everything. And in college, you could, I kind of mentioned this earlier, you could do all of it and you could see what you liked and you could try different things. And I think that is a big advantage too of just trying all those things. But then sometimes when you leave and you go out into this big world, then that imposter syndrome hits because you're like, well, I didn't just concentrate on this one thing, or I don't have this background, or we didn't have that class, or whatever it is. And so it's really cool then seeing people like you who have made a living with their writing and who have done these things, and then that you can do it. You can come from this small town, and maybe we didn't have the most advanced class or the writers group or, all these things that you talk to people from bigger schools that they did. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I do too, and that's a great point. We were allowed to just do whatever, and there was people who did things like they'd go do one thing and then they'd, like I was in drill team and a cheerleader, so 5 minutes before the end of the second quarter, you'd race under the bleachers and into Mr. Hines's room, science room, and change into your drill team costume and go do the thing, and then race back and get your cheerleader uniform on and race back out. And it was just like, nobody thought anything about that at all, including us. It was just we were allowed to do what we wanted. And I think that that is a great foundation for what you can do later in life with that.
I think it's very, very healthy.
Is this a real memory or did this not happen? But I feel like the basketball players, like you'd have made a basketball game and maybe if you're on varsity, you would play in the band during the JV game if they played or whatever. But if you were on the JV team, you would definitely, then you'd, shower, put your clothes on and go play in the band for the varsity game. And
Yeah.
That was a real thing, Shelby.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that happens in a big school. I don't think you get to do both.
You wouldn't have that opportunity. No. And part of it was they just needed us. I remember even having that opportunity in 8th grade when we were in the, like you said, Temple, the junior high, getting to go up and play in the pep band with the high school kids.
Oh, yeah.
That was so fun.
To go to state and or we'll go to districts first and then be so rowdy and have a blast and then go up later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic experience.
Wanted to do it. Like you wanted to be part of not just your class, you wanted to be part of that high school community. You wanted to be part of what was going on in town. And not that there wasn't other stuff happening, but let's face it, if there was a basketball game or a football game, that was the thing that was going on for the most part in town. And a lot of people were there. Not everybody, but I mean, a lot of people were there. And you wanted to be part of the excitement. I mean, I did. I didn't want to sit at home. I wanted to be out doing what my friends were doing and just being part of that community. And it's funny, when I lived in Las Vegas, there were very few people I met that were born and raised there because it's such a, come in, come out, do whatever town. Um, and there was very little sense of community. They didn't have any kind of community day. I mean, they had sort of celebrations and stuff like that. They could have gone to the parade or whatever, but it wasn't like small town celebrations are. And it wasn't like you went to the grocery store and you'd run into your teacher, or know what I mean? So it really, as I've grown older, I'm like, that was what made it magic, was that there was that beautiful sense of community. And it was, it was the potlatch community, but I don't know, I think we all had fun in high school, not just with our class.
Mhm.
Like, you knew everybody 3 or 4 years ahead of you and 3 or 4 years behind you, right? And that was your community. And I don't know if a lot of people had that, especially with bigger classes. One of 500 kids in your freshman class, you know, that's just a very different experience. Not
Very
that
different.
good, but
Very.
so I'm really very thankful that I had that. And growing up on a farm and just a logging community, you about those two types of lifestyles, which are very important to our society. And yeah, I mean, Potlatch was just a great place to grow up.
And that sense of community too. I mean, no one is more generous in a time of need than people in a small town, taking care of their own. And
Right.
I think that's also very, very inspiring. And it was a great way to grow up and teach that community, that sort of, you help other people.
You help other people. Somebody's broken down on the side of the road. You pull over and help them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you say, where do you live? Do you need a ride? Do you need a flat? We can help you with the flat. And other people would pull over too. And that was just the way it was.
And if you had like a fire in the field, everybody dropped everything.
Oh, everybody
Oh,
come in,
yeah.
they see the smoke and just go run. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've only lived a few places, right? So I'm sure there's people who live in other areas that are like, well, yeah, we had that too, but I don't know any I don't know any other experience. And so I'm glad I had that experience. And it's like, it didn't matter what we were involved with. If we were doing a car wash to raise funds for cheerleading uniforms, or we were selling calendar ads for junior miss, or whatever it was, everybody pitched in and supported, the kids. It was all for the kids.
All for the kids.
I forgot about those junior miss calendars, because then we also knew anybody's birthday, like birthdays. And I remember that. I remember, like, every morning, I bet my mom still has that calendar. And every morning looking at it and seeing whose birthday it was.
Yeah.
It was
Pre-Facebook, pre-internet. You got to have.
Yeah, and it was we were way ahead of that Facebook birthday notification thing.
Yeah.
And there are still people's birthdays that I know because I looked them up
Calendar.
on that calendar. And you'd go through. I remember going through, like, oh, I want to find out when so and so's birthday. Just like reading all the names of everyone in town to find, like, when's Temple's birthday, which is in October, I think, because I looked it up on the calendar when I was a kid. Right?
Look at that. Look at the recall.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I remember looking it up when you were a cheerleader and I was in junior high. Like, oh, I gotta know. And I was probably
Shelby, you've always been good at that, and you've carried through with that.
I don't know. I think, yeah, it sounds a little stalkerish now that I've told Temple that, but whatever. Here we are.
Oh, honored. I had no idea. No, that's true. Or you'd like have a crush on somebody, and be like, when's the
Oh yeah, when's their birthday?
and man, if I'm lucky, I'll see him at the locker and go, happy birthday. And he'll, okay. And he
Oh, that's
probably-
crazy. You'd never tell. You'd never tell that you looked it up and you knew. That's crazy. Crazy talk, Temple. You never did that.
But I can let the secrets out now.
Is it still happening? That's what I want to know. Is the calendar?
I don't know. Isn't that terrible? If
I don't
somebody,
know, but I'm absolutely texting my mom the second we're done and asking her.
Gotta find out.
Yeah, I gotta do.
you guys,
And if it is, we gotta talk to these wonderful people doing the calendar still.
Yeah, we need to know. We need to know. We can give people some birthday shout outs. I'm going to find one of those.
It would be a really cool thing if they were still doing it. Seriously.
Is my birthday still on that calendar?
Somewhere it is.
Buy it.
Do they ever take them off?
If somebody, yeah, I think you pay for, I don't know. I don't
Oh,
remember.
that's a good question of how long the rotation stays.
That I think you pay, and then the people that were around the picture of the junior miss, there wasn't there, maybe there wasn't,
Sponsors. Yeah, I think there were
there was the sponsors.
like Floyd's would be on there and Bennett's and like all the businesses would buy like a little box. I don't also use it in my hands. I don't know that makes any. I'm like, huh. Pretty obsessed with this calendar. Or did Facebook just make that not a thing? Because everybody.
I don't know.
No.
You're going to have to do some research.
Yeah,
that.
I'm looking into this.
The listeners are going to want to know. So you're going to get back into it.
Listeners want to know. You're right. Yes. I better.
Yes.
I don't want to let the public down. I'm going to find out.
Pretty sure you've got some serious listeners out there. So, yeah, they're going to want to know.
They are all of our mothers.
Temple, do you ever get
Mom, text me and tell me if you have that calendar.
Temple, do you ever get nostalgic about what was in our parking lot? We discussed this. Shelby and I were discussing this the other day when we were in high school. The different kind of cars.
Oh my God.
You had the coolest car.
I had a 5 Ford Falcon, which was my dad's. And they painted it John Deere yellow, which you would think would be really bright yellow, but it was that pale yellow. I don't know why he called it John Deere yellow because it wasn't bright.
He chose the minor color, not the John Deere green.
Yeah, not John Deere green.
There's a lot about him. He went for the complementary color.
Imagine me driving in with a green.
He went for the more feminine color, I think, is what he was doing.
Yeah, maybe that's what he was doing.
My dad got that car from his grandpa. So it would be Paul Anderson Senior. And for doing some work, Dad did some accounting work for him, I think is how the story goes. So he gave him a car. So there might have been more to it. I don't know. And yeah, my sister drove it. My brother drove it. My dad fixed it back up. Then I drove it. And it was a great car. It could go anywhere. Like if it made clearance, it could go. That's amazing. Yeah, it was a great car. I mean, and you didn't thrash it or anything, but I mean, you didn't feel bad if you were driving back roads on the weekends with your friend. You know what I mean? You didn't feel bad about that. Because it was well loved. Yeah. First time I got pulled over, I was in the Falcon.
Oh, was it in Potlatch? You got pulled over?
And the baseball team drove by and laughed at me.
Of course. You could never get pulled over without somebody. This was you kind of mentioned the downside of the small town and everybody knowing you. It was that I spent a lot of time being pulled over and having people drive by, and of course telling me
before
I got home.
Yeah, a lot of time being pulled over. I only got pulled over once. Just that one time.
I liked to drive fast.
Oh, I was speaking. My dad's tags. And I got home and I was hot. And he was like, well, what's up with you? And I was like, I got pulled over. And he's like, well, what were you doing? And I'm like, it wasn't me. It was you. And you didn't get the tags renewed on the car. He was like, oh. It was a very humbling experience because seriously, I had just gotten my license. And so Dad was like, you can take the Falcon. So it probably hadn't been driven maybe. So that's why wasn't thinking about it. Wasn't thinking about it. And I'm driving home thinking I'm just the hottest because I'm by myself driving. And I got pulled over. So that tells you the internet may have had competition back in the 80s on speed getting information to people because I literally had been pulled over and within 5 minutes, probably not even that, here comes a whole pickup load of the baseball team laughing.
It's you're right.
I hope I wasn't laughing. I hope I wasn't in that.
You were with them. The baseball player. You were there, Cameron. Don't you remember?
I probably was. Yep.
I think it's funny because you just say that, like the internet, and we think news travels fast now, like because we have cell phones, but news traveled so fast without cell phones, without,
Mm.
having to get to a landline and make, call somebody on their party line or what. I don't know how it worked, but boy, it happened fast. Like people must have hightailed it to those payphones that were across from the bank in downtown Potlatch and called home whenever they saw something. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I get the gas station. The gas station gets the call. Remember the little gas station that used to be by Floyd's? Get the call, and then somebody from that drives uptown and spreads it there, and then it goes from the wagon wheel back home. That's how I think I did it.
I think there was like a town crier that just like drove around and saw the stuff and then like, that was like their role. I don't know who it was, but
It was like these call lists too. You know how like if someone like somebody wants a potluck or somebody passes away or something, you have this list of people.
phone tree.
And guess who? Okay, now you call, Shirley and I don't
Maybe
know.
this was the benefit of the party line is you could call one person, but 5 people could hear it, Or did just say that the efficiency that gave in the gossip.
Does anybody? I bet there's a generation that doesn't know what a party line is, or there's a very different definition for it.
Very different. Yeah,
Very
my daughters with Snapchat. Yeah, they're like, party line. What? Yeah, I'll just snap them. They left me unread. I'm like, unread? What is that? That's the biggest sin if you leave somebody unread. Ooh,
Oh.
it's a diss. Yeah.
Yeah, being unfriended is too. I got told that. I got told that
You
too
got told it? Nice.
by my younger niece. She was like, "You got unfriended?" I was like, "Yeah,
They're making a statement for some reason.
yeah, it is a statement."
Huh.
That only happened once though.
Another high bar. Pulled over once, unfriended once. That's actually really exceptional.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think that's true, but okay. You can edit that part out. Yeah.
Temple, do you remember the feeling, one thing about the small town too is you knew different roles, depending on how old you were and what your status was and so on. And I bring this up because my daughter Ava is getting ready to start her senior year. And I remember that transition that summer before we were seniors, just feeling, Shelby, you might have felt this too, like, hey, we're the big deals on campus now. Like this is ours. And it wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, where I thought, we'd be just boastful and walking around strutting our stuff. I actually also felt an obligation to the younger ones that were coming. And I think that was in part because Ty, so Shelby's brother Ty, our cousin, he was coming up in this class and we had this football tradition. It was a awful tradition of dragging the freshmen through the mud. I don't remember if you ever. Oh yeah.
Know that.
I got drugged through the mud. Rich got drugged. Jerry, Jeff, we would have all gotten drugged through the mud, and they thought it was cool. And it was the puddles that would form at the west side of the field, and they were gravel in those puddles. It wasn't like a fun thing, but it was some kind of stupid ritual that we thought we were going to do. And then I remember when we became seniors, also Mike Scoville had a younger brother, and Damon Carpenter, he had younger brothers, and so we're like, you know what? That stops now. We're not going to do that anymore.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
We stopped it. I hope it didn't start again. I don't know if it did, but I remember feeling that was cool. Like, okay, we can change the culture a little bit here.
interesting. I had no idea. Did you know, Shelby, that
I had no idea. No.
I was today years old before I knew that.
You didn't know that thing? Well, maybe it was more the guy thing, because when you play football, you go through certain things, right?
Well, maybe being, I was young enough that if you stopped it before it got to us, that's why I didn't know.
And hopefully it held. It held.
Again, right
Temple, I'm on a roll. Another thing, and I think you had a lot to do this because you were in government. You helped it make it possible for us to wear shorts. Remember?
Yeah.
Shelby, you would have benefited from this tremendously. Remember, they wouldn't let us wear shorts at all.
They wouldn't let us wear shorts. And I remember however we did it. I don't remember.
We petitioned. I think you were part of it. Marlo would remember. But I remember, yeah, I'm with you. And I'll go talk to them and I'll sign a paper and I'll wear the shorts. I think you guys dared me to to push the envelope and wear shorts. And I'm like, I'm in. Let's go. I'm down.
Wasn't but like they had to be longer than your fingertips, right? Was that the rule? Yeah.
That's what they were worried about.
I do remember that.
But I never got talked to about wearing a mini skirt.
That was my point. That was part of my point. Yeah.
I just thought that was always so funny. And it's not like they didn't, I mean, I don't think anybody really, maybe they did push it. I don't know. But my mini skirts were longer than my shorts at that time. I mean, let's face it, you could have Bermuda shorts, but you could have short shorts back then too. I mean, but yeah, I remember that. And I remember wearing shorts to school for the first time.
That was a big deal. We did that.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Nobody was allowed to do that.
Right.
Thought about that.
I just remember that because I was in 7th grade and I think we had the same rules. I think we got to wear shorts too.
Yeah.
And it makes
See, Shelby, we're givers. See, we felt that responsibility.
Thank you for blazing that trail.
Yeah.
And making it so that we could wear shorts all winter in the freezing cold if we wanted to. Because that's when I remember wearing shorts the most is in the winter. Like when it was hot, I feel like we all wore our new, like you'd go back to school in August and it'd be hot, but you would have just gotten all your new school clothes, jeans and sweaters. So you wanted to wear them.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
And so you'd rotate them that week. You had to make sure you got each one in.
Show off all your new clothes and your new shoes.
Right.
Yeah, pray nobody had the same thing that you did.
Yeah,
I remember short white boots, the little go-go.
Yeah.
Remember those? And I remember we all sat down as a committee practically. The girls, it was like, okay, I'm going to pay the shoes and I'm buying the ones that have the tassels and the silver things. Don't you buy it? And nobody ended up with the same white boots because we did that because we didn't want to be wearing the same.
Coordinated.
I love the coordination that went into this. That was
And then when somebody's got trashed, because anyway, when they get trashed, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy new white boots. So what does everybody got? So I don't buy the same white boots. And it wasn't because you didn't like them, it was because you wanted to be an individual. You didn't want to wear the same thing. But yeah, I remember wearing those and I'd just be sweating by the end of the day. And you're just like, but I got my new sweater on. You get home and you just like, you put your shorts on. So yeah.
It made no sense. But
Kids,
I like that we all did it. That's fantastic.
and school shopping was the best. That was the best. Work hard all summer.
Going to the Bosco Mall,
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's part of the thing was we had a limited shopping.
That was about it. Yeah.
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 Unless you wanted to go all the way down to Lewiston.
How far? Far.
Never did go school shopping in Lewiston. Sometimes we go to Spokane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to Spokane.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. We even went to Nordstrom sometimes. Oh,
Wow.
Fancy.
What was that about? But we did. Hey, the shoe department was in the basement.
Oh.
Maybe Cobas is in a Nordstrom's. Anyway, yeah, those are good times. We had the best hair and the best fashions.
I mean, best is a relative. I don't know. In the eye of the beholder, maybe. But when you look back on it, other than don't wear your new sweaters the first week of school when it's still hot, is there any like advice or anything that you'd give your teenage self?
My teenage self, I think I would probably remind myself how important it is to learn the lessons. Like, if you're in a class, you need to absorb what that teacher's telling you because it will come in handy later. Maybe not specifically that day, but it will, the overall information they're trying to instill in you will come up again, whether it's if you go to college, whether it's in a different class at a different level, or in life, you might want to pay attention and not just spit it back out when there was test time, and and again, like what we were saying, take every class you can take. Like, I wish I would have taken chemistry. Why didn't you take chemistry? I can't believe dad was like not on that a little bit, dad. But
Did
Yeah,
you take physics though? You took
no, I did not take chemistry, physics, or accounting, and those were 3 classes that I wish I would have taken in high school.
wait, we had accounting?
Yeah, I don't think we had accounting. Did you have
We did.
Oh, we didn't. Okay, I was gonna say because we had life training or like what life school
life
Se-
school?
7th period with Mrs. Nurk. What was that?
Oh, life and consumer sciences.
Maybe that was it.
Home ec, basically.
Home ec. We were trying to learn how to balance checkbooks. We'd
Yeah.
learn how to bake.
But I think it was it was family and consumer sciences.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it was that yet. Yeah, it was something. Anyway,
I mean, this is Nurk's class. We all took Mrs. Nurk's class, is what we know.
That was a blast. Love that.
and that should be required. I don't know, maybe it is now, but it should be required because you need those life skills too. And I just think, making sure, I don't know, high school was one of those times where you could learn how to, those life skills, maybe pay a little closer attention to those, like how to deal with different personalities, how to deal with um, different people in, like, say your teacher is sort of kind of like your boss, that kind of advice. I wish I would have like done some of that. But maybe I wouldn't. I mean, how do you know until you get to my age and then you look back? But yeah, I probably and have as much fun as you can because those 4 years are not like any years of the rest of your life. I don't know if you guys, well, I know Cameron probably did, but I don't know, Shelby, it's not like you're that much younger than us, but things change, right? But, along about maybe Thursday afternoon or Friday sometime, there would be the, so where are we going to go and what be? What's the plan, and what time and where are we going to meet up? And that
Where are we going after the football game? Where are we all going to be? Mhm.
The word would start to spread around. Yes. Yes,
And
indeed.
how did we not know that the adults didn't hear that? I'm sure they did, the teachers, or maybe they did. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, some did and some didn't. Like, I remember getting pulled over many, many times, and a lot of times it was not a ticket. Sometimes it was Jim, Policeman Jim. I remember with the jeans. We got to know each other very well. He would just pull me over and he'd look in the back for beer. First of all, right away, and if there's beer, he'd just take it, and he just he'd take
He
it.
was the smartest cop because he kept us out of trouble. He did.
Yeah, he's probably looking out.
We were kind of getting in trouble, so he usually took care of it before it got into trouble. But the guy never had to buy liquor.
No,
I mean,
he must have had the best stash. Yeah.
did have, and remember, someone in his family that's in our class told us that.
And then Jim would be like, "Okay, so Cam, where are you going tonight? What's going on?" And I remember when I started, taking some of the boys to Moscow, he'd be like, "Why are you guys going that way? I thought everybody's going the other way, on the highway. Like, why are you going this way? What are you doing? What are you going that way for?" And I'm like, "To get away from you, sir."
Yeah, it's hilarious. I had no idea that you were on a chit-chatty basis with Jim the cop.
I was on a chit-chatty basis. He saw the rabbit coming, man. He'd at least follow me for a while, see what I was doing. Yeah.
That was-
Yeah.
Was
Remember the rabbit? The diesel. Yeah.
Diesel. Shelby, what
Started
did
up in blue smoke.
it went
Yeah. We had a it was an 84 Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Thunderbird.
Yeah. And then an 88, I think it was. I don't even remember when. Maybe when I was a senior, right before I started.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Something
can't,
you
I'm
need
not
to
sure
see.
exactly the year, but I think maybe it's 88.
Isn't that funny? And speaking of, like, back to the parking lot thing, I love how you guys would just get all excited about hunting season.
Oh, yeah.
You'd go out hunting before school and come screeching in, right at last bell, and then go out again after, and there were guns.
Gut. Think about
And
that.
also sometimes somebody would shoot something in the morning and then it would just be in their pickup when they came to school.
Oh, yeah. I remember
And everybody would go out and look at it like,
being mounted to the front of a truck. Yeah. Like an LP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've forgotten.
Blood coming down, rifle in the back, unlocked. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you know. I mean, that
Era.
really changed, but I mean, that was just the way it was, you know? So, I guess that's nostalgia. For us, it was very normal, and there was no
Yeah.
maliciousness to it, you know?
Right.
That was very different time. Yep. Yeah.
And we have witnessed it.
I feel old thinking about it that way. Like, it was a different time. It was a simpler time. It was a
And we didn't have to ride horses, though, to school, so
no, we
It's
did not.
true. This is true. We
It
didn't
was
have
not
the
uphill both ways.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. That we had to walk uphill both ways in the snow to get to school. Okay. Not really. Yeah. No, I think that is a really good testament that everybody was on the up and up, that's why they had a rifle in their pickup or their car, because they were hunting. It was just what
It
else
was a
would you
hunting community as part of the culture. Yeah.
Harder. Yep.
good times. I never
Well,
did.
before we wrap up, is there any memory, anything that you want to share that there's never enough time to share all of it, but anything that you kind of remember or any story you want to leave everybody with?
I didn't really prepare anything.
I remember you guys went to the girls' league formal together when you were seniors, and I was in 7th grade, and they would have 7th and 8th graders serve. I don't know exactly what that meant. I can't remember that at that dance, and I got to be there, and you guys tried to make me dance with you, but I would not. I don't think I did dance. I don't remember if I did or not, but I remember you guys like dancing in front of the little table we were at and like pulling me out there.
Shelby.
And I remember Temple had on a white dress, this like super cute white dress. I have no memory of what you were wearing, Cam. That was much less important, but I heard this white dress. Do you know what dress I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah. I remember what Cameron had on. I was a page in the legislature for weeks, and I had to leave right after New Year's. And I said, Cameron, I'm not going to mess around. I'm asking you to the formal because I know that you're a hot commodity and all these girls are going to want to ask you to formal. So will you go to the formal with me? Because we've gone to the formal the year before.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm like, hit my date for the formal, right? And you were like, yes. And then I find out while I'm in Boise, like all these girls were pissed because they wanted to go with Cameron and Temple already asked him. I'm all like, yeah, I got
Way to lock it down, Temple. Temple's locked it down.
That's right. I locked that Cameron down. And yeah, we made dinner. Didn't we double date with Carla and Dan?
Yes.
And we made dinner at my house. My mom and dad were out. And so we made dinner and got all dressed up.
All dressed up like we were young adults or something. That was so fun.
Fun. That's a great memory you brought up, Shelby.
Great job, Shelby, bringing that one. And I do remember you being there, Shelby, and serving us, and we're trying to get you engaged, and you were really shy.
Yeah, it was kind of an overwhelming experience, I think, being at this like high school dance with all those like, when you're in 7th grade, like juniors and seniors seem so grown up and, you kind of idolize them in a lot of ways. And I just remember that being like, way too embarrassed to like.
We got to find a photo of that, Temple.
I probably have one somewhere, I bet.
I do.
I bet you gave me, yeah.
Scrapbook.
Nice.
That's another. I'll find it and like somehow put it on this video if we can figure out.
Ooh, that's
like,
a great.
The technology, yeah.
Figure out the technology and get one of the Falcons.
If you find it, send it to me. I would. That would be a fantastic way to.
Yeah, that was fun, Cameron. Thanks for being my date. Even though I know there was a lot of other women lined up that would have.
Hey.
Well, that his value. Like, look at what that did for him. That just made it like shot his stock up.
That's right.
Yeah, you really did him the favor, I think.
PHS, go Loggers.
That's right. Go Loggers. Loyal and true.
Loyal and true. Absolutely.